Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the intense dynamics of mankind's first family. We're going to look at how the incredibly harsh, unforgiving reality just outside the gates of Eden ended up shaping two very different brothers. Now, you probably already know how the story of Cain and Abel ends, right? But our source material today really digs into why it happened, focusing heavily on their clashing personalities and the extreme environmental pressures they were living under. To really wrap our heads around their story, we first have to look at the brutal environmental shift their parents just went through. Honestly, it was a massive shock to the system, a rapid transition from easy abundance to painful, grueling survival. As the source points out, Adam and Eve used to walk upon gold. Now, they're literally walking on dust. Inside the garden, everything they ever wanted was right there. Just reach out, pluck the fruit, and eat. But outside, the earth is stubborn. It doesn't give up its fruit freely anymore. It takes sweat, it takes struggle, and it takes a whole lot of resilience just to put a meal on the table. Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, Life Outside the Garden. So, out in this harsh new land, humanity is essentially thrust into a high-stakes pressure cooker. We're talking constant toil for food, a relentless, exhausting battle against the heat, and literally fighting against cursed thorns. In our source, you can actually hear the sheer frustration of trying to force crops to grow while battling the elements, screaming at the heat, risking injury on the thorns. It's brutal. But, even amidst all this dust and daily struggle, love was still born. Adam and Eve built a family. It's just that this family was born into a world of intense, unyielding physical stress. Which sets the stage perfectly for Section 2, Two Brothers, Contrasting Personalities. What's really fascinating here is that the harshness of this post-Eden crucible didn't impact the brothers the same way. It actually triggered entirely different psychological reactions. On one side, we have Cain, the eldest. He's this rugged, hard worker, someone who took on the absolute grueling task of conquering the earth and forcing it to yield crops. And then on the other side, we have Abel, the younger brother. Our source describes him as a gentle soul, this observant shepherd who just watched over the flocks. So you've got one brother actively battling the cursed grounds and the other gently guiding life upon it. And there's this exact quote from our source that perfectly nails their dynamic. Abel is totally captivated by the beautiful colors of the sky, showing this posture of wonder and gratitude, right? But Cain is firmly rooted in the bitter, gritty reality of survival. He just snaps back, "Beauty doesn't fill your stomach, Abel, hard work does." You can literally feel Cain's intense frustration with the cursed ground, and it contrasts so sharply with Abel's gentle, optimistic nature. And that tension leads us right into Section 3, the offerings and the heart. So eventually, the brothers are tasked by their parents with bringing offerings of thanks to the giver of life. And what they actually bring to the altar? Well, it tells you everything you need to know about their different approaches to gratitude. Abel went out and specifically chose the firstborn of his flock, the absolute best, perfect, without a single blemish. Cain, on the other hand, brought some of the fruit of the soil. The text makes a really clear point to highlight Abel's meticulous, thoughtful care versus Cain's much more generalized, almost casual offering. Now, to be totally objective here, we have to note how our source material handles this visually. The animation actually shows Cain mixing his harvest with spoiled produce. The source explicitly clarifies that this specific detail is an artistic interpretation. It's not explicitly stated in the original text. Instead, it's a visual storytelling tool used by the creators, drawing on certain traditions to visually represent the hidden moral condition of Cain's heart. It's a really clever way to make an internal flaw visible for the viewer. Because ultimately, the acceptance of the offering had absolutely nothing to do with the physical amount. It wasn't even about the kind of offering, like plants versus animals. It was 100% about the heart that brought it. A glorious divine light beamed down from the heavens and filled Abel's altar. The Creator chose Abel's offering, completely proving that the internal posture of the heart is what truly matters. Which tragically brings us to Section 4, jealousy and the first murder. Seeing his offering rejected, Cain is just instantly consumed by jealousy and this bitter, deep disappointment. But before anything else happens, the Creator actually steps in. God speaks directly to Cain's anger, giving him this incredibly powerful warning. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you, but you must subdue it and be its master. It's this profound moment of grace, right? A clear chance to turn back. But it's a warning that tragically goes completely unheeded. Let's trace how incredibly fast this whole situation escalates. We start with that divine warning, which Cain ignores. Then, Cain invites an unsuspecting Abel out to the field, pretending he wants to show him something beautiful. Abel, being the gentle soul he is, goes gladly, just marveling at creation. And then, the horrific rupture, the tragic murder, followed almost immediately by the unavoidable confrontation with God. It is a terrifyingly rapid, devastating sequence, from a simple warning all the way to the first human death. When confronted by the Creator with a very direct question, "Where is Abel, your brother?" Cain chillingly deflects. He just looks up and drops this profound, arrogant question. Am I my brother's guardian? Talk about a massive denial of responsibility. It shows a complete and utter breakdown of the love that was born back in the dust of their post-Eden home. So let's look at the aftermath in Section 5, Consequences and Lingering Light. You can't hide the truth. Abel's blood cries out from the ground, and Cain faces immense, life-altering punishment. He's cursed and banished from the very soil that swallowed his brother's blood. No matter how hard he works now, the ground is just not going to yield good crops for him ever again. He's destined to be a homeless wanderer, and he's terrified that whoever finds him will kill him. But here's the really wild part. Even while handing down this heavy punishment, the Creator decrees a sevenfold vengeance on anyone who harms Cain and actually places a mark of divine protection on his forehead. Even after all the terrible things Cain had done, God still cared for him. It's such a deeply sorrowful scene. Picture Adam and Eve, tears falling into the dust over Abel's cold, lifeless body. Our source reminds us of a really crucial duality here. Yes, death had officially arrived, and sin had claimed its very first victim. The grand adventure of mankind was off to a remarkably dark start. But they were not abandoned. The Creator never truly left them. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on. The world they entered, much like ours today, was absolutely full of shadows and hardships. So how do you manage the post-Eden pressures, the jealousy, and the daily struggles in your own life? Can you master the anger that might be crouching at your own door? And most importantly, can you trust that the light will always find a way back? Think on that for a bit. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.